same way. When I share, or when someone shares their gifts with young people, or someone shares their knowledge with other people, and someone shares their abilities with other people, and someone shares their time, what they're doing is blessing someone else's life. But the return is not in the same way. The return is that when they are blessed, they will bless others. And those others will bless others. And those others will bless others. And you want to know what? The world changes for the better. So the return is a better world. It's an investment. See, people who are generous expect transformation. If I give you $5 and then in time expect you to give me $5 back, that is a lack of imagination. Because an investment is when you give something and you expect it to grow, to change, to transform, so that others can be blessed and touched. And when you find out what your little seed, the difference your little seed made, ooh, you are grateful for the return. Because you realize I gave something of myself and I watched what God did in God's powerful, marvelous, gracious, loving, wise ways to bless others. And because they're blessed, I now know that God used me to bless others. And oh, the joy that comes from realizing that God used what you got so that others can be blessed. That is the great return. Generosity is a giving of oneself. That is when our lives become meaningful. When you look back, the times that you probably are most pleased, most joyful, the times that you found most meaningful in your lives were not the times that you withheld kindness. You never remember the times that you withheld kindness as times where you were really, those joyful times. Those are not moments or memories that stand out for you. The moments that stand out for you are the times where you did not withhold kindness, where you went out your way to show it, where even though people may not have appreciated it at the moment, you remember it because you somehow were used by God and you remembered the blessings that were given to you and you wanted to pass that on. Those are the times your life is most meaningful. There was a writer who spoke to a college commencement, and he was speaking about the times that he remembers the most painfully are not the regrets he has made, not the mistakes he has made, not his failures, not even his losses. Those he does not regret. But what he regrets are the moments he could have shown kindness, the moments he could have gave of himself, so that someone else could be better. And he didn't. He remembers that. And he remembers it with regret. He remembers it with pain. It's a wasted life. We have been given so much. Our time, our experiences, our story, our past. And we can give to others so that they can be blessed. And when we do that, we find the joy of the Lord, the peace of the Lord, the purpose of the Lord. Stewardship is about learning to hear God's call in your life, saying, give of yourself, give of yourself, give of yourself. Let us join together to give of ourselves. I'll share a story. I think of this line that Paul says, if I have not love, I am nothing. Woo! That's strong. Nothing, I am nothing. I think of this line, and I think of a short story by one of my favorite writers, Mr. James Joyce. And James Joyce has a short story called The Dead. I know it sounds morbid, because it is morbid, right? And the story is about this self-conscious, middle-class Irishman. And he has to go to a family Christmas party, and he has to give a speech at the family Christmas party. But this man is very self-conscious. He's always fixing his hair. He's always fixing his glasses, making sure his shirt is fine. And when he is not self-confident, but self-conscious, and the difference is, I'll explain a little later. He's self-conscious, meaning everything revolves around him. Everything returns to him. He doesn't live for others or from himself. He lives for himself and to himself. Everything has to come back. Very self-conscious man. He says a joke to a young girl, and the girl does not laugh. And now he's spending about 3 pages in his own head talking about what a fool he is because he could not make this young girl laugh with a joke. You know these folks. Very self-conscious folks, so anything can break them. So finally this man meets up in his family's house, and he's the most educated man in the family's house. And so this one woman comes in, just as educated as him, and she argues with him, and he cannot beat her in the argument. So how angry he is, because he can't be the smartest man in the room. He's furious, and he has to give this speech, and he realizes that if this woman is in the room when he gives the speech might not go well, because she will know that this speech is not one of substance, but one of fancy phrases and cliches, and how she would pierce him. But fortunately for him, she has to leave early. So now she's out the room, and so now he can give his speech knowing that he can impress everyone, and the one person who could catch him is gone. And so he gives his speech, and his speech is a huge success, and everyone in the party loves his speech and claps loudly, and they're wonderful. Wonderful job, Gabriel. Wonderful job, Gabriel. So now what does Gabriel want to do? He wants to find his wife and go home with his wife to end a wonderful day, spending time with his wonderful wife. So he looks for his wife, and as he looks for his wife, this self-conscious man, thinking very satisfied with himself, sees his wife upstairs listening to a piano song. And he sees his wife, and he says, "Oh, she looks like a painting. What can I name this painting? Distant music, I'll name this painting." His wife is now, she's a part of his life. She is not his relationship. She's just something he wears, just something to add to the success of the night. So he goes home with his wife in the cab. He pays the cabman an extra tip. He doesn't, he just wants to get home to his wife. And then finally they're in the room, and here he is to celebrate and to fulfill the wonderful day, the wonderful night he has had. And then all of a sudden, he looks, and his wife begins to sob. She's weeping, crying. This is ruining his night. This is not how the night's supposed to go in his mind. So he's kind of cold. And he said, eventually saying, "Why are you crying?" And she says, "That song, it reminded me of someone." Uh-oh. Someone? Who? A young boy. Back in the other part of the country in Ireland. A young boy. When I was younger. And what about this boy? Is he alive? No, he died. Well, what did he die of? And then she says, "He died for me."